Today I'm at For You Fitness in St. Petersburg, Florida, here with Daniel Nyiri, the founder and owner of the first and only EMS franchise in the United States. Among many other companies, he helps fitness professionals to succeed in this very competitive market. For You Fitness epitomizes the American dream, and founded by a 21-year-old who came to the US with only $150 in his pocket and a language barrier, he knew that with hard work and dedication, he could make great things happen. That $150 turned into a new fitness location, then another one, and eventually into a franchise with the latest technology in fitness.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD Show. All right, what's up, Daniel?
What's up? How are you?
All right, so thanks so much for letting me come down to For You Fitness. I actually got to check out the Tampa location first, which is being remodeled to look much more like this one, which right now we're in St. Petersburg, right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so I have you on for a bunch of reasons, actually. So this episode is going to be covering a lot of things. Number one, your ability to stay focused and work on the business as opposed to in the business, the way you learn and what you spend time learning, which is great, your work ethic, and also the uniqueness. Like, this is not the typical fitness studio. There's chandeliers, and Sam played the B-roll of there's chandeliers. Your bathroom area looks like a nightclub. Actually, the entire, from the outside looking in at nighttime, looks like a nightclub with the blue lights. And then you have the curtains, you have the ceiling with everything just representing the street that every location is on. It's just amazing. I'm gonna get my butt kicked here later, and you're gonna take me through a workout. But tell me a little bit about For You Fitness.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I've been watching your show for a while, since we started working together. We basically developed a high-tech invention that allows you to get a 3-hour workout in just 20 minutes. As I mentioned earlier also that we were voted as the best gym in the entire Bay Area. And you may have, or the viewers may have seen us on the Doctor's TV show,
Okay.
Where we showcased our equipment. To know what else is going on at For You Fitness besides just working out and getting the results, we are very, very involved with the future. We are actually working towards preventing muscle atrophy, so NASA can get our astronauts to safely colonize Mars.
NASA.
Yeah.
This is incredible. Okay. So the type of workout that you do is very different because everyone else in the world is believing 5 hours or 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, and that gives you like maximum productivity in the gym. And when I asked you if I can work out like for 45 minutes or an hour, you said I couldn't handle it.
That's true.
And if I said, can I do this 5 days a week? You said, no, I can't handle it, right? So your workout's 20 minutes, 3 days a week. Now, what can the most elite athlete handle?
The more fit you are, the harder it becomes. So technically, a person who is really out of shape would come into our studio, could handle a lot more than an athlete who would come in and try to work out.
Really?
So for an athlete, yeah, and it's very cool because we give them usually pink tennis balls, which unfortunately I don't have for you today. You have a yellow one.
Okay.
But we usually give a big pink tennis balls for very muscular guys. And the funny thing is that usually their wives bring them in. Okay. So when if their wife become our clients, they come in, they love this workout, they get pretty sore. They talk to their husband, and their husband says, "Oh, this is full of crap." And then the wife finally says, "Just come in and try it." So they come in, and then the wife is like having fun, struggling, sweating, and everything. And then the husband's turn is like they always say, tennis balls. No, yeah, that's what you're using. And then they always complain that they want like a bigger weight.
Right.
And I no, trust me, you can handle this. And sometimes they really, really enforce this, and they are like, no, just give me something different. And okay, I give them a 5-pound weight. They start the exercise. After the first exercise, which is basically the dumbbell chest press, they are so worn out that they're like, let me just get the tennis balls back. Yeah. So it's kind of funny. Yeah.
Wow, so the more in shape you are, the less you can handle because you're doing this much more efficiently.
Yes,
right?
That's correct.
So now for anybody that runs a business, they don't have to work out as much as they can spend more time on their business because they can literally work out just 2 to 3 days a week at 20 minutes total, right?
Yes.
So now let's talk about you. You have a background, you were a hockey player, right?
Yes.
And that's how you ended up, well, you went to Oklahoma from Hungary,
Yeah.
right? And then that took you to Tampa?
Pittsburgh
Or
first.
Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
and then you came out to Tampa?
And then one more, Chicago, sorry.
Chicago. And all this is traveling for hockey?
Yes.
Right, okay. How did you get into this?
I got hurt, pretty bad injury at one of the tryouts up north. That was actually in New York. I got hurt really bad. There was like blood coming everywhere. I couldn't stand up. I was like, took me off in a stretcher.
Wow.
And anyways, they told me if I get hit again like that, I get in a wheelchair. And so that was the time when realization hit that they only cared about me until I was able to perform. I went back to Hungary, my country, and where electromuscle stimulation, as far as the full body electromuscle stimulation, was about to start up. My current business partner in Hungary, he was the one who was developing it already to put it into, mainly for athletes actually at that time. And then we partnered up together and for the US market, and then we turned in the paperwork for FDA and we developed a machine strictly for the US market, and that's how I basically came into the picture. But at that time, I already had actually developed a fitness studio for you Fitness over in Tampa.
But it wasn't like this.
It wasn't like this. 6 months later, when I was more into the fitness industry and myself realized it as an entrepreneur at that time too, there's no way I could do this and be successful unless we find a better solution to save time, get better results, and separate from the crowd.
So now what I understand from you when we first had met, there's a ton of these types of studios in Europe, right? How many would you say?
I always say over 1,800 because last time when I checked and we were playing around and look at the numbers was around 1,800.
So it's normal there.
Yeah, it's
here. It's just not normal.
Yeah, we are on the cover of Women's Health, Men's Health, almost any fitness magazine that you can name. Most of the places in Europe, including even London, all over. It blew up there like crazy, and there are studios that have 12 to 14 machines in Spain, and they're all full back to back all day in each studio.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of time until it blows up here in the States too.
Now you're a very smart guy. You're
Appreciate
constantly reading. So what are you reading right now?
Right now, that I really enjoy, I just finished up the book Dip, and it was amazing. A new book just came out about Pixar and Steve Jobs.
Okay.
It's an untold story, and we learn a lot about the business, Silicon Valley and Steve Jobs. The other book that I also read is The Everything Store, about Amazon. Okay. And I try to finish an absolute minimum of 4 books per month. To stay, on top of the market. 4
books per month.
Minimum.
One of the things that I talk about a lot, my mentors talk to me about, is the most successful people in the world, they do 2 things very well. They know how to work hard, they have great work ethic, which I don't think most business owners necessarily have an issue with, a lot do, but not a lot of them, that's not the biggest struggle. It's the second thing, and you have to be constantly learning. Yep. Tai Lopez just dropped this stat where the average successful entrepreneur, and it was a certain amount of revenue made, I think it was like 5 million a year or more, reads over 100 books a year, or 60 books a year, 60 books a year, and the average unsuccessful entrepreneur reads about an average of 1 book a year, which is 60 times greater learning per year, when you can think about that, right? Yep. You obviously spend a lot of time in learning, and one of the things you talked to me about was that you like to work on the business rather than in the business. Yes. So what does that mean to you when you're running you're running multiple fitness studios. When you're running multiple fitness studios, what do you mean by working on the business versus in the business to you?
So when you first start out, you're doing everything. And when you start a business, as an entrepreneur, you also do everything at the very beginning because you don't have money to do so. But as soon as possible, you start hiring your weaknesses. So if your weaknesses are numbers, then you hire, let's say, an accountant. But if you're really good at the numbers, then you leave that out and you do it yourself, and then hire someone else where you're weak. Right. And for example, what I mean by that is I used to do everything, but on top of that, I was a personal trainer as well. So I got in all these clients, and the clients were just coming in, and it was amazing, making lots of money. But I plateaued because I was working from 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. So that's it. The business just...
No time to learn, no time to work on growth.
Exactly. And where we go from now, because that's how I was first thinking, I need to hire someone. So I hired someone, but I was still working so much I couldn't focus on that someone who could make me even more money. I mean, not me, but the business, so we can grow even faster. So that was the main thing, that I needed to stop training completely, which I did. I don't train any clients. And I just run the business as far as now we have 8 trainers, amazing trainers at these locations. And I basically manage them, make sure that they, hitting their goals, our clients getting the results. Every single day I have a schedule that I follow, which I create the day before, if not earlier. And then each morning I get up and I look over it, what I need to do at what time. And then I have reading in it no matter what.
How much do you read? How long?
The absolute minimum is 1 hour of actual sit-down reading that I read.
So 7 to 8.
Mm-hmm. And then also I listen to audiobooks through when I drive, wherever I drive.
Which I saw, because we went from, in your car, we went from one location to the other, and I got to hear the audiobook, the Everything Store on Amazon. Yep. With that said, so you're hiring people for your weaknesses. So and the training necessarily wasn't your weakness. It was just that you had other things that you were stronger than other people in the building that you can do.
To able to grow. And the number one mistake that I used to make at the beginning is doing everything myself again. So what I mean by that, the computer break. I was like, I'm not going to call a guy for $50. I'm going to fix it. And if I spent 6 hours, but I did it, I'm so happy that I did, but I just wasted 6 hours of my time.
Which could have made you $300, $400, $500, if not more.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know what's my value per hour, so I can make that much with what I do for the business. And if it's not money, it's not necessarily money, then it's the growth of the business. I measure it that way. So measure either the effort needs to be measured with time, with money, or the growth, scaling it up.
Right. So what are the things that you as the CEO and the person who's running the business and working on the business, what are the things that you spend the most time on outside of reading? What do you spend the most time on?
So most time is like interviews.
Okay.
That's one, like you and me sitting down right now. Reach out to the media, but now we have a PR firm who is working for us.
Oh, cool.
So we technically just email back if you want to do it or not, and lots of writing. So now I'm really focusing on publishing my first book.
Okay.
And actually I just had a huge meeting with the publisher and my mentor about writing the first book and publishing it. And
so you have a mentor as well?
Yes, it's very important. And then to go through the right steps, to be able to do that. But as far as growing the business, always looking at the opportunities and see where we can improve. I try to, every day I look over our process, what we do, and if I find something that's not working or not the way it's supposed to, or find mistakes, we try to cut them as much as possible. So every day we focus on improving and be better than the day before. So that's basically what I spend most of my time.
Now you have a marketing and a sales process, because a business isn't a business without customers.
Yes.
And so you know the importance of not only retaining your existing customers with great service, which you do, but you also do a great job of bringing customers, getting them to see the value of what you do, and then getting them to sign up, even though your fitness studio charges typically 2 to 3 times more than the average studio that's out there, maybe even more than that, right? Now, what's the sales process like?
So soon as, that's the other thing that you need to spend money on, and not your time, because if you're busy training trainers, someone needs to pick up the phone. And if you can't pick up the phone when they're calling or emailing, then you're losing these leads and potential clients.
Right.
So the number one thing was invested is to have our answering service, a really nice one, not something random, from down the street or anything. It's the one that hospitals and doctors use. Okay. So very influential and very happy people. You pick up the phone if you call, and then they are like very happy to talk to you. They either call us or I call them back if we got these forms. If they call us, my receptionist knows that the only phone call that she can connect to me, because my day is very scheduled out, is if it's a new client who would like to sign up, they can connect it to me. So
new lead.
New lead, yes.
New lead.
I would actually take the time and talk to them as the owner. As long as I have time that, I even meet with them for consultations, just because I want to show these people that we are real and we are technically a mom and pop shop. So first of all, reach out to the leads and try to schedule them as soon as possible. Without answering their question, because the number one question they call to all the time, and you talked about this, I think, and I think I learned this from you, from one of your
GSD?
episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, when they would call you, and then they would say, how much is it?
Right.
And then you throw them off with, hey, with their name and how are you, and all that, which we do.
Good.
And we do not, not because we are expensive or anything, because they have to understand the value that we give to them. So we just have to get them to come in, we sit down, find out what their problem is, and then once we find out their exact problems, we can tell them if we can help them or not. I honestly, we try to be very, very honest with the people, and 90% of the time we can help these people who come in, and we tell them up front that yes, we can definitely do this, and this is what we need to do in order, and then with the sales process, we go through to make sure they're comfortable, they can relate to us, they see it's a great connection, and then we move on to scheduling their free trial.
Now the person comes in, they obviously have questions.
Yeah.
probably a lot of the same questions that I had, right? So is anybody ever skeptical?
Everyone is skeptical, like everyone, like every single person who comes in. But all we have to do to make them believe is they actually try it, and then they realize that it's for real, because they see results right away. You know.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, cool. You have a business that you're running with your wife, which a lot of people, especially first-time entrepreneurs, their wife's involved in the business. It can be stressful in a marriage, and it can be stressful in a relationship. How do you and your wife find a successful working relationship? Because from what I understand, you guys have never had a fight.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Not a serious fight.
Not a serious fight.
Obviously little things.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, because she's going to watch this. So
Yeah. So I have to make sure that.
Okay. So you guys have never had like a serious fight. So what are some things that you guys do as business owners and husband and wife to make sure that both relationships are successful?
I mean, it's not easy, obviously. And you definitely have to find the right person to do it with, which I'm very lucky with my wife, because I could not do it without her, to have someone supporting me like she does.
Again,
And
you know she's watching this.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not why I'm saying it, though.
No, I know.
And
You said it in the car, just so you know, we're going
Yeah.
to share that video with her. We recorded you saying all cool stuff.
okay, so to get back to this, it can be really tough, but as long as we find the same mindset, and by the way, I realize that how much I work, and not in but on the business still, because we want to grow. We want to be the next Apple, but in the fitness industry, and for that's pretty ambitious goals that we need to reach. And the first thing that you can struggle from that is relationships, because no time, right? So the only way to fix that is, I'm not kidding, it might sound like crazy, but you have to get your scheduling out, and just like I said, and schedule days and times when you're with your wife or family that you actually have, particularly for that day, that time.
Right.
For example, we have twice a week that is absolutely, we're doing it, is on every Wednesday night, and then every Sunday. Well, Saturday, but Sunday, that's for us, kind of. But basically, Wednesday and Saturday, it's in our schedule that this is what we are doing. And we are doing it all the time, so we make time for each other.
That's cool. What about vacations and stuff like that?
That's a good thing. For example, my business coach tried to force me to take a whole month of vacation, because he tried to teach us that we're in the group that the business runs without you. Once you're able to do it and it runs without you, when you're the CEO or whatever that is, then that's the time when you can take away, and trust me, your business will run without you better. And we will definitely do the vacation. We were 2 years ago in Hungary for a whole month, and we'll do that again soon. And we also went to London, so other places too, not just Hungary. Yeah.
You mentioned mentor before, now you're mentioning coach, and it's funny because I think a lot of people I think anybody that's never had a coach or a mentor doesn't understand the value, and I think anybody that's had a good coach or mentor once will never work without one.
Yeah.
And I've had 7 or 8 different coaches I've spent money on already. One of them, I'm going to call his name out because I was so appreciative to this guy too. His name is Chris Ronzio. Chloe, tag him in this post because I wanted to know I'm saying this about him. But this is very cool. He found out, we were going through what he called a brain dump, which he wanted to find out everything that I was wanting to do, everything I was thinking of, and let's just put it down on paper so we can analyze, what's worth spending time on, what's not worth spending time on, and what we should really focus on as our vitals. And he said, we got down to, he goes, when's the last time you took a vacation? And I go, 10th grade. My mom and dad made me go to. He's like, 10th grade? I was like, well, I've been to like New Jersey to visit my family. He's like, no, when's the last time you've like paid to go on a cruise or, somewhere? And I go, no, I've never done that. And he's like, so you and Marjan never took a vacation. What about your honeymoon? I go, no, we haven't taken our honeymoon yet. And we were married 5 years, right? And so he said, okay, well, we're not working on anything until you book a vacation. That's the first thing we're going to do. He's like, if you don't book a vacation, I'm not going to work with you. Even if it's just 2-3 days getting out of town, you do that. And I said, no, I'll wait. He's like, no, you've been waiting. You're going to do this. You need to do this. You need to see the value in it. You always have to have a vacation schedule. So I took out my laptop. He took out his. He's like, you book the ticket, and I'll book the resort. And I'm like, okay. So we were going to go to Huntington Beach for 3 days. I booked the plane ticket, and I go, all right, tickets are booked. And I was ready for him to slide over the laptop so I can put in my info for the resort. And he goes, resort's booked too. This one's on me. He's like, I want to be the guy that makes you take your first vacation, hooks you up. So that was pretty cool, right?
Yeah,
And when you get a cool mentor, and when you get a good mentor and a good coach, they really care, about what your success is, not just on the business and financially, but as a person and mentally and emotionally. And so You've probably noticed that with your mentors and coaches too. It's not just about making the numbers work and sacrificing your well-being. It's, I want you to have the life that you want to have, and the business is meant to serve you, not the opposite, you serving the business. So how many mentors or coaches have you had?
Well, right now, I have a few.
Okay.
It's not like I quit them or anything. Still use them. And we meet all the time. But right now, currently, I'm in a program also that he's my mentor outside of it. And then in the program, I'm in a room with 12 different people.
Like a mastermind?
Yes,
Okay.
a group of people who make over millions of dollars in sales, and they work on getting their business from even bigger. And it's called KPI. I don't know if you heard of it. It's a key person of influence, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's amazing, and the group is amazing. We have crazy people coming in. Even Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank was supposed to be one of the mentors.
Really?
As well. Yeah. Oh, the person who actually invented the credit cards, the swipes, he's one of our mentors too.
Really?
He's coming in January, I believe. Yeah, the actual inventor of the swipes.
Wow.
And he also automated the New York stock market as well. Yeah. Well, anyways, to get back, yeah, mentors are very
Bigger
important.
thinkers.
Yeah, bigger thinkers. That's the whole point of the whole thing.
Right.
They also teach you that, like you said, there is life outside of the work. However, you do have to, which you already have the work ethics, so you know this, but you do have to, bust your butt for sure. But there is also,
You
life.
need to live.
Yeah.
You need to live.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so I want to do this workout. I want you to take me through it, and then we're going to come back and talk about that a little bit and probably focus a little bit more on some other stuff business-wise. Do you mind?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Can't wait.
You ready? Let's go ahead and unhook and do that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Do I take the Apple Watch off?
You can keep it.
Oh, man.
You can be in the middle of the mirror.
This is the craziest workout. You only have to work out 2 to 3 days a week, 20 minutes a session.
What, everything else?
Oh, God. Yeah, I feel my thighs.
Okay, good. Do you feel your legs too?
Yeah, like too.
Stomach?
Yeah, a little bit.
And
Audio Jungle.
perfect. You can take it. Or you were.
Money.
Audio Jungle.
I'm just kidding, it's not that bad. But no, that was one of the craziest workouts I've ever experienced. I felt everything, man. My legs, I even felt it in my butt, which is a little weird, but it was good. And calves, everything. So I just finished taking a shower. Now I'm sitting back out here with you. I still kind of feel like a little bit working in my stomach. I don't know, maybe it's just mentally, but I feel, my triceps just now when I did that. That's kind of crazy. But that was an intense workout. And we worked out for how long?
Actually, the actual workout time when you were working out was about 15 minutes.
That was 15 minutes?
Yeah.
I seriously feel like I just did like a 2-hour workout.
I know.
That was incredible. All right, so now you obviously understand what I understand now, which is how effective this is. And you've had a lot of people cycle through a lot of good results as well. And so now you've done what a lot of people are doing where, okay, great, we got this one gym, it's doing well, build out a second location, doing well. Now you have 3 locations out in California you've licensed out, correct? And you have more coming up. So your goal is to eventually either continue licensing or franchise, something of that sort, and just really scale this thing out, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. What is the one thing that you need to focus on in order to make sure that that happens effectively? Because a lot of people that are listening in and watching, they have models that are doing well enough to where they believe they can scale. And what are some things that you're doing to make sure that that's effective for you?
Well, the number one thing is that do not start a second one or anything until you actually did the research. Business plan is one thing that to set up for the next location, have a check mark, have a budget, have everything, and have a great team that you can actually support it, and you can actually step away from the current location that can run without you, so you can completely automate it, and then you don't have to worry about anything, and you have the right people to run it while you are working on the other studio, because that's going to take lots of your time, unless you already have the people who will set it up for you, just like other big companies already have that, like Apple. They have the right people to set up new locations, and everything. Same here.
We were talking earlier, and I was telling you, I was basically hinting at you strongly to open up a location in Phoenix. And you said that you looked at Phoenix and you looked at other markets and you chose the markets that you decided to build in. How did you decide those markets? What are some metrics that you looked at, or what are some determining factors that you needed to see in order for you to say that's the location where I'm going next, and why not Phoenix?
Yeah, it's well, first I wanted to go somewhere warm, but obviously I looked into New York, which is not warm, but the price is just outrageous. The number one thing that I looked at is first how much it costs to start a business, taxes, and how much our rent, or the average space that I need, the surroundings, where I can afford to build it, and what's around it, people to support it. Because we could go into middle of nowhere in like a no-name city, and in the country, you know, somewhere like, let's say Oklahoma City or whatever. But if the people around it, it's not, there's no lifestyle, you know, that what we try to support or create, then there's no point going in there.
Right.
So I looked at that, the average income of the people, the population, then the
Where do you get that information?
Oh, it's very simple now. It's well, Google is the easiest. That's one thing. Second is just the real estate agent will do it for free because they will get the commission if they sign you on the lease anyways.
Okay.
So we just give them the criteria and they put it into their system, and then they can give you all the details all the way down to the bottom.
Demographics,
Yeah.
all that. So like average age, average income, if they're family or
Female, male, anything you want. Yeah.
really
When they moved in, are they a homeowner, not a homeowner? Do they have credit cards? So many information you can get now from online. Yeah.
You have a product that's priced right because you know the workout's incredible and the time that people are saving. Your price is perfectly priced for the product, but it's a premium pricing. It's not something that for the Planet Fitness or the LA Fitness, right, that charge $15, $25 or whatever per month. So with that, do you look for other premium things around you like a Whole Foods or anything that you can tell some other companies have done their research and development to make sure that there's a great demographic?
I'm sorry, you have to look outside. Sorry, but
What's going on out there? Oh, wow. So everybody watching, there's a superhero villain walking down. It's like Comic-Con outside. Is that normal?
yes, in St. Pete, yes, you see stuff like this. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So,
sorry about that.
no, it's good.
Yeah.
So just so you know, that's what's happened. Do you do anything where you look at other companies that are around the locations like Whole Foods or anything like that make you assume that some other additional research and development has been done?
Definitely, there are lots of other criteria and other companies that I look around to see that matches our clientele that they go to, they hang out and do things at. So if you know, the number one thing is know your clientele, and you actually have to hang out, live, do things around that area, so it's more convenient for them to come to you. So yes, like you said, definitely look at all those things. Whatever the clientele is. If it's an athletes, obviously don't go to a place where there are no athletes or no athlete development program or nothing, right?
Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit about this, what you have up on the ceiling, and be descriptive for the people listening into the podcast.
Okay, so on the ceiling, we are on 4th Street in downtown St. Petersburg, which is a very artistic city. The only way to stand out as a new gym, besides our workout, is to be a little bit artistic. So we went down on 4th Street, we took pictures of the studio with my great friend and designer who I work with, and we printed all of the pictures out and then blow them up on a what do you want to call this, on a big piece.
Like just like a pad, yeah.
Yeah, a big pad canvas. Yeah, and then at Kinko's, or what do we call it? Like, you know, like at FedEx, we printed out black and white, glued them together, and I think it looks amazing. But it's all 4th Street. Yeah.
Very cool. And your whole setup. So the average fitness studio owner, gym owner, when they open up a gym, I think they build out a gym in a way that what they think their customers or members expect the gym to look like. You know, with the mirrors all around and certain type of flooring, certain type of wall decor and all that. I feel like I'm kind of like in the lobby of a pretty cool, rustic, modern-ish hotel. And then there's just like gym equipment around. It's a really nice setup, but what inspired you to go this direction? What inspired you to think outside the box, unlike most fitness studios that I've seen out there?
One thing is, since you mentioned that with the lobby, we have so many people from this building who come in here first because they think this is their office. And then we have to say, no, the office is next door. And then they look at us, really?
Really?
Yeah. Anyways, I came up with this because this is what I had in mind. I wanted something modern, old school, American and European. So I wanted that so it brings everything, because I love America, we are in America. Second, I'm from Europe, wanted some history. third, I'm a very old school person. If I do listen to music, if you catch me listening to music, I listen to music from not anything before the 80s. Like it's like right before that. I love old school of everything. And then I do love modern too, like Apple, for example. I'm all about the technology, as you can see.
Right.
So that was just the main reason behind it. Wanted something unique.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the chandeliers, the bathrooms, the curtains. It's just a really cool concept overall. You're one of the fitness studio owners that I work with that definitely has a great head on your shoulders. So for the fitness studio owners that are out there, what's the book you told me to read?
It's the 5 Temptations of a CEO.
And you said your mentor, you recommend it to him. Now he's basically recommending it to everybody,
Everybody,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so get that book. Yeah. And then what's a piece of advice you can make to, let's say to yourself 5 years ago, what's something that you would tell yourself knowing where you are 5 years from now, five years ago?
Well, the number one was first is obviously not work in, but work on the business, and don't push people out of the way. Let them do their job and coach them through their job instead of fixing their job. And then second, as soon as I can afford it, hire the people that brings in more value to the company. For example, advertising. I would recommend that as soon as you can afford it, and even before, you should put away money so you can actually afford it, to find the right advertising tool, because and I actually was going to ask you about that also, but word of mouth is great and the best, and it's the most amazing. But when you start out as a new studio and you go into new areas, there's no way you're going to fill up your studio with word of mouth, right? Because you don't know anyone. So we didn't know anyone here either. So the only way is get from the people and get a great advertising team, going on, and do it for you, which you guys are doing a great job for us. And that's the number one thing I would recommend, to hire your weaknesses. I'm not saying advertising was my weakness, but it was definitely not even close to what you guys, offer. So I highly recommend that.
So if you guys didn't know, yeah, he works with us. So, but yeah, so that's good. I'm glad it worked out well for you, and thanks for the advice. You said you were going to bring something up to me. Did you want to cover it now?
Yeah, the question was technically is the why do you recommend people to, in your mind, to have advertising done by a outsourced company, like let's say like US coming in, you're the team. I know the answer to that, but I mean, I don't think the
why use an agency versus somebody in-house?
Or yourself,
or
like
yourself
as a CEO, which
So it depends. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you use, like you said, if it's your strength, if it's something you love to do, and you have people to take on the other roles, and you should do the advertising. Some people are really, really good at it themselves. If you're not good at it, and sometimes you have somebody in-house, let's say a partner or somebody that's a key player in your company and they love it, as long as they're good, then that's great. That's fine too. But you got to understand where their real strengths are. Just because they're really good at it, is that where they're the most valuable to the company? If the answer is yes, they should do it. An agency like ours, we kept our pricing to the point where it's cheaper than having a part-time employee that's mediocre at best with our fee, right?
Yeah.
So you have a full-time agency that's constantly learning. Obviously, we're here at a conference. I just spoke at a fitness conference, and we're constantly traveling, like you see, and everybody else that probably knows. So I think if it's not your strength and it's not the most valuable thing you can do for your company, and same thing with anybody else in your team, then yeah, you should hire an agency, 100%. Whether it's us or whether it's somebody else, I think us, just because I really do believe we're the best in the game. But at the end of the day, go with who you feel comfortable with, and advertising is important, like you just said. If you don't have advertising out there, it's very difficult to get customers predictably.
Yes.
Referrals you can get, but it's hard to get them predictably. And if you don't have customers, you don't have a business. Doesn't matter how cool, like everything here is great, but if no one's here to see it, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Right? And you've done a great job at making sure everybody that walks through the store gets the value. You guys are adding what, like 12K or something like that, you
Yes.
said? Every month?
Advertisement, yeah.
That's ridiculous. So you're doing a great job, and thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your wisdom. I know people are gonna get a lot of value out of this, and I can't wait till you come to Phoenix and set up shop so I can sign up.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thanks so much for joining us today. If you like this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Stitcher, and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to thegsdshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.